Google has admitted that the Biden administration forced them to censor people. And after the work of Republicans, they will be reinstating political accounts that were banned. And I have requested to Google to restore our episode with Alex Jones and Joe Rogan, which they removed 3 years later, which I can only say I believe was because of pressure from the Biden administration. I believe that the Biden administration targeted me as well as other prominent individuals on YouTube. They couldn't get us banned. YouTube couldn't ban us. So they used us to smear the Trump administration and the right as being patsies or to smear us as somehow influenced by Russia or otherwise. It was a lie. It always was a lie. And I believe the Biden administration is one of the most evil administrations this country has ever had. I believe that we are heading down a dark and dangerous path. But before I get into all that, let's talk about this story. The Post-Millennial reports Google admitted that the Biden admin pressured the company to censor content on its platforms and has committed that they will reinstate accounts that were terminated from the platform. In a letter to Chairman of the House Judiciary Committee Jim Jordan, Google's parent company Alphabet stated, senior Biden admin officials, including White House officials, conducted repeated and sustained outreach to Alphabet and pressured the company regarding certain user-generated content related to COVID-19 that did not violate its policies. While the company continued to develop and enforce its policies independently, Biden admin officials continue to press the company to remove non-violative user-generated content. Now, there's a lot here that needs to be broken down. 1. With Trump's designation of Antifa as terrorists, will YouTube allow pro-Antifa content? YouTube's own rules say this is not allowed. I'm not saying they should or shouldn't. I'm simply asking the question. The same is true of Elon Musk. Apparently, people don't know what a question is. Now, there's other questions. With this, I'll read you this in a second. I want to stress the show that we did, The Culture War, before the Tenet Media deal, is the exact same show we did during and after. YouTube still deleted on my personal channel segments from the show. Now, the show we did last week was about exorcisms. The Culture War show is not in any way a geopolitical show. We don't talk about war, conflict, crisis for the most part. Sometimes we have. But the show is largely about cultural issues, such as we've had an Orthodox Christian debate a Catholic. That was heated. Why did YouTube delete all of these segments? All of them, some 400. I guess because the DOJ, without evidence, made a claim that it was paid for by Russia. They dropped the case in December. Informally, they stopped investigating. They just didn't bother with it. The individuals they claimed had facilitated this we don't even have proof they exist. They offered up no evidence at any point. In April, it was announced, Lauren Chen stated, they formally announced that it was closed completely. There's never been any evidence that this is true, any evidence of any criminal wrongdoing, FARA violations, undue influence, or anything like that. The story as it goes right now is the DOJ made an assertion without evidence and then dropped the case a month later. If this is now happening, I am demanding that YouTube restore this content. Jim Jordan posts, King and Spalding by electronic mail, the Honorable Jim Jordan. It says, this statement of facts is submitted on behalf of our client, Alphabet Inc., and its subsidiary YouTube in response to subpoenas by the House. They say throughout the committee's investigation, Alphabet provided responsive information to the committee to fulfill its oversight responsibilities, producing internal records, et cetera, et cetera. Alphabet's a collection of businesses. The company is committed to doing its part. The committee's investigation, they appreciate the accountability. We get this. Now, the Biden administration and Alphabet. 7. The COVID-19 pandemic was an unprecedented time in which online platforms had to reach decisions about how to best balance freedom of expression with responsibility, including responsibility with respect to the moderation of user-generated content that could result in real-world harm. Senior Biden admin officials, including White House officials, conducted repeated and sustained outreach to Alphabet and pressed the company regarding certain user-generated content related to the COVID-19 pandemic that did not violate its policies. While the company continued to develop and enforce its policies independently, Biden admin officials continued to press the company to remove non-violative user-generated content. As online platforms, including Alphabet, grappled with these decisions, the admin's officials, including Biden, created a political atmosphere that sought to influence the actions of platforms based on their concerns regarding misinformation. It is unacceptable and wrong when any government, including the Biden admin, attempts to dictate how the company moderates content, and the company has consistently fought against those efforts on First Amendment grounds. It is for that reason I am again stating I demand that YouTube reinstate all of my content that was produced by me, independently owned and operated during the time we had a license agreement for distribution with Tenet Media. I'll say it again. On my YouTube channel, never banned, never sanctioned, they deleted some 400 video clips from Tenet. This was produced solely by me without any outside influence. The show beforehand, during, and after has remained the same. And I believe that I was unduly targeted by the Biden administration with lies for the purpose of smearing us in a fake October surprise that they dropped the moment they lost the election. Anyway, I apologize if people are saying, Tim, you're making it about yourself, but no. I think the Biden admin targeted me, Benny, Dave Rubin, politically to smear our names, and I demand answers. Now, anyway, back to the story. No matter the political atmosphere, YouTube will continue to enable free expression on its platform, particularly as it relates to issues subject to political debate. Political debate and discussions are in the public interest, which is why YouTube expanded its approach. In contrast to other large platforms, YouTube has not operated a fact-checking program that identifies and compensates fact-checking partners to produce content. YouTube also began offering a feature on YouTube beginning in June 2024 that allows users to add notes to provide relevant, timely, and understandable context. The company terminated channels for repeatedly violating its community guidelines on election integrity through 2023 and COVID-19 through 24. Today, YouTube's guidelines allow for a wider range of content regarding COVID-19 and elections integrity. Reflecting the company's commitment to free expression, YouTube will provide an opportunity for all creators to rejoin the platform if the company terminated their channels for repeated violations of COVID-19 and election integrity policies that are no longer in effect. YouTube also deleted our episode with Joe Rogan for highly dubious reasons. I have already submitted a request that YouTube reinstate that episode. YouTube values conservative voice on its platform and recognizes that these creators have extensive reach and play an important role in civic discourse. The company recognizes these creators are among those shaping today's online consumption, landing must-watch interviews, giving viewers a chance to hear directly from politicians, celebrities, business leaders, and more. The committee has taken important investigative steps to highlight that onerous obligations of the law, such as the Digital Services Act and Digital Markets Act, may stifle innovation, restrict access to information, et cetera, et cetera. You get the point. I don't trust at all Google. So I will say, please go to timcast.com and click join us, become a member, get in the Discord server today, hang out with like-minded individuals, because I don't trust YouTube as far as I can throw them. Many have stated, but what if, my friends, they gain power again? I'm not worried about them gaining power again and censoring me. I'm worried about them doing worse things to us. I will say right now, Google must reverse course on all of this wrongdoing. Now, Lauren Chen issued a statement pertaining to Tenet and mentioned the DOJ has not returned their funds. They've proven no wrongdoing. They've offered up no evidence. They've closed the case. And YouTube still hasn't reinstated their channels. YouTube should reinstate the channel of Lauren Chen, an independent individual. I'm going to stress this to the greatest degree I can. It is my belief, based on the circumstances played out last year pertaining to Tenet Media and the false, and I say criminal lie, that it was a secret Russian operation to influence the United States. I think we must get justice on this. And I will stress, Dave Rubin, he was reacting to silly videos online, and his deal was for about a year, and then he was gone. And they lied and claimed that he was a creator being paid to spread Russian propaganda. None of his videos were in any way spreading any kind of propaganda or influence. The Culture War podcast existed before this deal, during and after. In no way was any of the money that we got for that license deal a deviation from our standard business practices, excessive in any way, nor changed the opinion in any way of anyone who worked here. We have continued. I believe that the intention of the Biden administration was that they couldn't ban Benny, me, or Dave, so they tried to smear us in some way to make sure our influence could not be spread or be more mainstream. I believe we are all deserving of the release of the exculpatory evidence or some degree to prove that it was fake. Now, as for that, back to the news. I believe that actually what should happen is that Google should reinstate all of our content with an apology. I'll say it again. The videos they took down from my Culture War show, I talked to them about it. I called them on the phone. Why are these being taken down? And they said, well, look, with the indictment. We are just getting rid of all of this. And I said, okay, fine. I get it. That was like, I think it was like a week later. I said, none of this content in any way was influenced by anybody else. It is a simple license agreement. And they said, we just don't want it on the platform. I said, fine. The story, I believe the execution was announced in September. By December, early December, I was informed by my lawyers the investigation had been closed. I had 2 legal teams working on this, and I said, give them everything they need. Why? Because I knew that if the FBI had access to all of our communications, it would prove it was not a real story. The FBI under the Biden admin just for some reason was like, not interested. And I said, I don't understand why they're not interested. And it was made very obvious. Conveyed to me, Tim, it's an October surprise. It's politicking. They did it because they want to win an election and they want to smear Trump and they want to discredit you guys. And that's where we were. They presented no evidence at any point. They used assumptive language to trick people into thinking some things may be true. One example could be like, well, I don't want to get into this because I want them to release the information, but there's so much that was broken and evil about the Biden admin, and we know. YouTube has no reason, now that this case has been formally closed, to keep this content off of YouTube. I'll leave it there. Smash the like button, share the show, all that good stuff. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you all in the next segment.